Hey guys, welcome to PhoneRadar. This is Chetan and this is the Motorola's Nexus 6 from Google. So this is Motorola's flagship, but not from for Motorola's flagship range, but it comes for Google as the Nexus series flagship smartphone. And this is one of the best successors, if you call it a successor to Nexus 5. This is one of the best devices of this year, and this is the right contender to the Galaxy Note 4 from Samsung, because that was the best smartphone for us for this year, and it still remains the best smartphone because this does have a few cons when compared to the Note 4. And even if I don't use the S Pen much, but still S Pen is one of those functionalities which people might prefer while choosing the Note 4 over the Nexus 6. So one of the main disadvantages here would be this huge size of the Nexus 6, and even the battery life is something that I'm not much impressed with in this device, and that is again in comparison to the Galaxy Note 4, because the battery is still okay. You get the entire day's usage and still there's some percentage left out, but still this isn't comparable to the Note 4, which gave me a lot of longer battery life, and the standby is still pretty good. So first of all, let's get into the introduction of this. This is the Nexus 6, which comes with a 6-inch display. That's 5.96-inch display with the Quad HD display. That's 2560 to 1440p resolution, and this comes with a typical Moto X second gen design. This is the Moto X 2014 that I am using as my daily driver. So this is pretty similar to me, and I didn't feel it much of an uncomfortable device because of the same curvy design and the same form factor. But still, a 6-inch device is never easy for anyone to use. And with the surge in the specifications of every smartphone this year, you have seen Quad HD displays and Snapdragon 801 and 805 processors pushed into most of the flagship smartphones. This couldn't be lesser than that, and this was Google's only chance to get back into the market with the perfect smartphone. So this is the Nexus 6 with the Snapdragon 805 processor. That's 2.7 GHz quad-core processor with 3 GB of RAM and this Adreno 420 GPU. And the camera is 13 megapixel here. That is something similar to what you have seen in the Moto X again, and it has the same ring flash that you see here. The ring flash has dual LED flashlights on the left and right of the camera lens, and I have seen a bit of improvement in the capture when you compare to that of the Moto X second gen capture. So that is again one of the advantages over the Moto X, but again that isn't the best of the cameras out there, because the camera of the Galaxy Note 4, that 16 megapixel lens, and even the Lenovo Vibe Z2 Pro, it also had a 16 megapixel beautiful camera with some perfect color reproduction out there. So this isn't having the best of the cameras. Again, we'll get to that later on in the video. First of all, let's talk about the form factor. This is a pretty huge device, and it's not easy to use it with a single hand at the same time. So this is pretty large to hold in the hand, and one of the good things again is the curvy design, because of which it is a bit comfortable to hold still. So if you are someone who prefers phablets over the smartphones with the 5 to 5.2 inch of displays, this is a perfect smartphone to have. And when you talk of the back of the device, this is the Nexus branding that comes with a metallic band which looks good, like the one in the Moto X 2014. So it isn't that easy to put your finger on when you're talking on the phone. So it's just a branding dimple provided there. And we have already talked about the camera on the back. There's a metallic rim on the entire sides of the device. This is the midnight blue color, and the metallic rim again isn't a silverish one that you get in the white one. So there is a good way Motorola has used a good color around the midnight blue color. So this banding gives it a premium look and a good feel too. And on the side you get to see this volume rocker button and also the power button. Both are tactile and metallic buttons, which are again very good in response. You get a feel that the button is being pressed, and they are pushed a bit towards the center again, and that gives you an easy access while holding this large device. On the front there's this earpiece as well as a mic in the bottom, and these don't do that single job because these both are the stereo speakers. The Moto X 2014 had one such big disadvantage where you could see only one speaker that is on the bottom, and there was no top speaker. So that was a single stereo speaker, and that didn't do a very great job. But here this is one of those smartphones of 2014 where I could see a very beautiful sound output, a very high decibel level, and also some sharp sound. So that was from the front facing dual speakers, and there's a camera and a set of sensors just beside to the earpiece there. So this was about the form factor. I'm not very much impressed because of the size, and not many would prefer this huge size of a smartphone. And this is just similar to the Galaxy Note 4 when you talk of the size, but still a bit larger than that. And when you talk with the iPhone 6 Plus, Apple finally had come up with a larger display smartphone, and that was the iPhone 6 Plus. And that is where this gets a bit of similar height, but again this is wider and is thicker than the iPhone 6 Plus. So this is not the easiest to hold, but still not that bad. Now the next factor, that's where the Nexus 6 becomes one of the top end devices, is the Quad HD display. There are a limited number of devices this year that have come with this Quad HD display. That's the 2K resolution at 2560 x 1440p display. So that was the LG G3, and then the Lenovo Vibe Z2 Pro, Oppo Find 7, and then this was the Galaxy Note 4 and the Note Edge. These all were the premium smartphones that came with the 2K display, and now the Nexus 6 comes with the same. The color reproduction is great, and although we keep saying, and it's a fact that you can't make out these pixels or differentiate them with the naked eye, but still the sharpness is pretty much easily noticeable when you compare this with the 5-incher Nexus 5 that was its predecessor. So this is a very beautiful display. The color output is good, the saturation is very good, and the sunlight readability is great under the full brightness. But when you get the brightness lower, it's very hard to read the content when you are in the low light conditions. So that is where you will have to at least choose to get to the half of the brightness and not the lowest. That is where the content doesn't get white, but there's a color fading there out there when you get the brightness lower. So that is a bit of issue. And again, when you talk of the 2K displays, this isn't the best 2K display out there. I would again give the vote to Galaxy Note 4 for the Super AMOLED display that has been doing one of the finest jobs in the display department of the smartphones. So Galaxy Note 4 gets the best vote, but this would be the second again. And the third and the most important factor with the Nexus series is the OS. That's the Android 5.0 Lollipop OS coming into this, and this is the stock Android. So I am one of those who would choose stock or near stock, and that is why I've been using Moto X, which has given me a very good user experience, and recently it had got the Lollipop update. So I've already got used to that material design that Google has implemented, and you get the stock experience with this beautiful app layering, and also the new notification panel, the section where you get to see the notifications with the priority, and you can set them as you need. And then pulling it down further would give you all the quick settings through connectivity, profiles, and also there's this new flashlight section with the brightness toggle in the same quick settings option. And in the top there's a battery indicator and a new section, that's the profiles, and where you can give an access to any guest user. This is a very beautiful feature that has come into the Lollipop version of Android. And the pre-installed applications are as always the Google's own applications, and nothing else apart from that. So the material design is pretty perfect. You get to easily swipe through the different home screens or the app pages, and there's no lag at all. Performance wise, this has been pretty beautiful, except for where I was multitasking and about 10 to 12 apps when running at the same time. It won't be very easy to switch between one of them. It would take at least half a second to switch from one to the other, and that is okay because you are using a Quad HD display device, and that is quite expected from it. So overall with the performance, this hasn't at all disappointed, and there's a gaming review that we already did with the Nexus 6, and on gaming this was one of the best devices I have used this year with the gaming. So the games played flawlessly, there were no pixel drops, and everything went on pretty well with even the high-end games such as GTA San Andreas, Asphalt 8 and such. So with the performance, this would be again one of the best smartphones, and in performance area this is even better than the Galaxy Note 4 for me, because Note 4 hasn't given any issues as such for the first 1 month of usage for me, but later on I am sure TouchWiz has always been one of those bad players where you get to see a slowing down of the interface with time. So the stock Android, that is one of the reasons why I choose stock Android over the other interfaces. So with performance, this would be the best smartphone for me for the year 2014. And now let's move on to the other feature, that's the battery. For this huge size you expect a good battery, so Motorola has included a 3200 mAh battery, which is again comparable to that of the Note 4, but the battery has some problem for me because this isn't comparable to the Note 4. I could get a complete day's usage where I had about 2.5 hours of screen on time. I played a few games for about 30 minutes and then browsed the web and played YouTube videos, all that during the 2.5 hours of usage, and made a few calls just like a regular user. And during the end of the day, it was about 15 to 20% of battery left. But again, one good thing about that was the turbocharging. Motorola had introduced this turbocharger with the Droid Turbo smartphone that came in just recently, and the same turbocharger is included in the package of the Nexus 6, and the charging is very fast. I could get to about 40% of battery from zero in like 20 minutes, so that is pretty quick, and that is useful when you are just about to go somewhere out and you notice that the battery is very low. So it does help you out in getting a fast charge. And it isn't any abnormal thing that you get a fast charge, it would go down abnormally. It is all normal when you use it. So the fast charging or the turbo charging is very useful here, but the battery is not up to the mark or the best. Now talking about the camera, that's a 13 megapixel camera on the back, which comes with the OIS, the optical image stabilization, and the dual LED flash, which is called as ring flash by Motorola because it comes as a ring around the camera lens on the left and right of the camera. And quality of the camera is very much improved when you talk of comparison with the Moto X 2nd Gen, because the OIS does a good job, as well as the software improvements are here for making the pictures sharper and clearer. And this HDR plus for even more better captures. And the only issue I had seen is with the low light capture, where the photo output isn't really bad, but the focusing was very poor. I had to focus like 3 to 4 times when I had to take a photo, because sometimes it gets totally blurry and you have to again tap and focus on the object to get a correct focus when it's the low light conditions. So the camera does indeed does a good job, but this is comparable to the LG G3 and the Galaxy S5, although the S5 had a 16 megapixel lens. But the Note 4 and the Lenovo Vibe Z2 Pro had a better capture quality when you compare that with the Nexus 6. So the video recording was superb, except for when you are shaking it a lot or when you are driving and such. You would see a bit of shaking with the videos, but overall the video quality is pretty superb and amazing. And given this display of 1440p resolution, you get to see the preview also in a pretty amazing way. So that was with the camera. And connectivity wise, there are no complaints at all, because it was very fast in connecting to any Wi-Fi network. Bluetooth and NFC had no issues, and the only issue was with the 3G connectivity. Sometimes it used to lose the connectivity, and when there's Wi-Fi and 3G running together, you see the network balance keep coming out, and that is where you can see that there are network fluctuations being seen. But there was no need of using a 3G connectivity when there's a continuous Wi-Fi turned on. So that was an issue, but I'm not sure whether this issue would be with everyone else. So with connectivity, this is the perfect smartphone, and I tried to chip in like 3 to 4 different network SIMs, and all of them were detected in no time. It was pretty fast in taking up the connectivity, and even connecting to the data network was fast. So that was with the connectivity. So overall, if you talk about the Nexus 6 as a high-end smartphone from Motorola and one of the best in the year 2014, I would say this is the second best smartphone. The Note 4 still wins for me, and the reason for that is a beautiful display, a great camera, and the great battery life. That is the three areas where the Nexus 6 is a bit lower on the end when you compare with the Note 4. And other con is this large form factor, which is not very much comfortable for every user around. I got used to it because of the Moto X that I was using. The form factor is the same curvy design, but again 6 inch is not very easy to hold and use, and there's nothing much Motorola or Google has done to give you help in one-handed usage. And when you talk of the pros or the best thing about this device is this display. Again, I'm not comparing this with the Note 4 right now, I'm just saying that the display is great to use to check out, and it has some good color saturation, and the readability is awesome, and the performance is the best. Again, the performance with the gaming, the multitasking, or whatever you ask, except for that little lag when you see during multitasking. Everything else is perfect in the performance area. And the final thing is the UI. You will get in love with the UI of the Motorola Nexus 6 because of the Android 5.0 lollipop with the material design. It's a stock Android, and that is what is the biggest advantage of this smartphone. The Nexus series has never disappointed with the OS because the stock Android has been giving up the best performance, so this is no exception there. And you can check out the channel PhoneRadar for more videos for the best smartphones list that we had done for this year. And the Note 4 is the clear winner there, but still this isn't any bad except for the pricing, where this time Nexus has been a big surprise for everyone. Nexus series always comes in the budget range, not so budget, but still it is something which people can easily buy without thinking much. But this time the price range of this one is over $650 or 44,000 rupees in Indian market. So that was a bit of surprise for many users, but still for the given specs and the performance, it is the price they can ask. So that was the review of the Nexus 6. Do check out the channel PhoneRadar for more videos and do subscribe to it. Thank you.